Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of the top stories we have lined up for you. While billions of soccer fans watch Friday's World Cup draw, Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Trump will have their first chat in a while. A nearly 5-year investigation leads to the arrest of a suspect who allegedly planted fire bombs before the January 6th riot in the U.S. Capitol. And on her 80th birthday, Roberta Bondar reflects on what it's meant to be Canada's first woman in space.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Jeanette Roche.
Thanks so much for joining us. Friday is a very big day in the soccer world as teams are drawn for the 2026 World Cup. Canada, the United States, and Mexico will be hosting the most watched sporting event in the world. The draw occurring in Washington, D.C. determines which countries play each other and where those games will be played.
We are excited. Tomorrow is going to be a great day at the Kennedy Center. President Trump is going to be there. Thousands of people are going to be in attendance. But around the world, 1 billion people are going to tune in to watch the draw at the Kennedy Center. So we're excited that we're kicking the event off today here at DOT.
There are going to be 48 teams spread across 3 different countries, where we have the opportunity to bring all of these countries together. But between Mexico, Canada, and the United States, we are going to be celebrating the World Cup here.
Toronto and Vancouver are the 2 cities in Canada that will be hosting the games during the tournament, which begins next June. And while there are no official talks planned, Prime Minister Mark Carney is planning to meet with his American and Mexican counterparts while they attend the FIFA World Cup Draw Friday in Washington. Carney is expected to have a brief meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump at the Kennedy Center, and he's also set to speak with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Kelly Geraldine Malone with the Canadian Press has more on what might be discussed.
And this is an important meeting because it's the first time all 3 will be in a room together. And it's at a time when the Continental Trade Pact, the Canada-US-Mexico agreement, has been shaken up by Trump's tariffs and his threats that he might pull the United States out of it. That trade pact is up for review next year. And it's kind of the trade agreement that has helped to shield both Canada and Mexico from the most devastating impacts from Trump's tariffs. Trump called off negotiations with Canada in October because he was angry about an ad that Ontario paid for that quoted former President Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs. So this will be the first time that Trump and Carney are meeting. They have spoken or texted, they've communicated in the time since, but all trade negotiations have been on pause since October. So it'll be a critical meeting for Carney because it could get trade negotiations back rolling. Certainly for Carney, the stakes are to get negotiations back on track.
And in other news, after a nearly 5-year investigation, the FBI has made an arrest in connection with pipe bombs that were left in Washington, D.C. before the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. The U.S. Attorney General made the announcement today.
As you all know now, early this morning, Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 U.S.C. 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come.
When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here.
Attorney General Pam Bondi told reporters Thursday's arrest did not come from a tip or new information, but rather was the result of going over evidence that was already in the FBI's possession. Investigators say the pipe bombs were made from 1 by 8-inch pipes, kitchen timers, and homemade black powder. And while they did not detonate, the FBI has called them viable and warned they could have killed or injured people. Lethbridge Conservative MP Rachel Thomas is adding her voice to those expressing concern about amendments being proposed to the federal government's hate speech legislation. Bill C-9 is going through committee hearings in Ottawa, and one of the proposed amendments suggests a removal of the religious exemptions from hate speech laws, meaning a person of faith could be prosecuted for quoting scripture that's been deemed hateful. Thomas says the amendment has yet to be introduced.
It's voted on at two stages, one at committee, and then it's voted on again in the House of Commons by all members. Our concern, though, however, is that if the Bloc and the NDP join forces on this, which is what they've indicated they're doing, it's a done deal. They have the majority they have the majority that they need to pass this through the House of Commons, and there's really our voice as Conservatives then cannot stop it, unfortunately. Again, I would just reiterate how important it is for people to have a voice on this matter at this point in time. It is not something that can be put aside. We cannot afford to wait. People do need to speak up and be vocal now. And so whether that's signing a petition or sending a letter or an email to the Justice Minister, calling their local member of Parliament, I just would encourage people, please have a voice on this issue.
You can also sign a petition against the amendment at 4, that's the number 4, mycanada.com. Well, some major upheaval Wednesday involving BC's Conservative Party. The party announced that John Roustad had been removed as leader of the opposition because he was, quote, professionally incapacitated. But Roustad disputed those claims and insisted to reporters that he was still in charge. 20 MLAs representing a majority of 39-member caucus gave statements to a lawyer that called for him to step aside. The party has since released a statement saying Roustad has resigned as a leader. On his personal social media account, Roustad says the battle will continue over what he calls the soul of this party. The Alberta government is introducing legislation it says will strengthen public confidence in electoral processes. Bill 14, the Justice Statuses Amendment Act, will, among other things, eliminate the possibility of long ballot elections like we saw when Pierre Poilievre ran in the by-election in Battle River Crowfoot.
Former Chief Electoral Officer Jean-Pierre Kingsley has gone so far as to call this practice, quote, an abusive process, end quote. That's why Bill 14, if passed, will increase the number of signatures required for candidate nominations and prohibit electors from signing more than one candidate's papers. We are keeping space for people who are serious about being elected while deterring those who are not.
Mickey Amory says Bill 14 will also improve the Citizen Initiative Act process by protecting privacy with increased penalties for misuse of personal information and adjusting the responsibilities of the Chief Electoral Officer to prevent delays with citizen initiative petitions. Following Tuesday's City Council meeting, the City of Lethbridge will be conducting a full review of all fees and charges that residents and businesses are subjected to, a motion put forward by Acting Mayor Belinda Crowson. Council voted unanimously that the City Manager, Lloyd Brierley, will undertake a comprehensive review of all user fees, charges, and rate structures levied by the city, which would include permits, licenses, utility rates, and service charges. The report will have a deadline for the second quarter of 2027, which would contain detailed rationales and recommendations for adjustment and even elimination. Any practical steps taken from this report will be deliberated for the 2028 to 2031 operation budget. Lethbridge police are asking for the public's help in identifying 2 male suspects wanted in connection with a robbery at a local drugstore. On Wednesday, police say 2 unknown males entered the Shoppers Drug Mart along the 300 block of University Drive and stole about $2,400 worth of skincare products. The suspects were recorded on video surveillance, and police are asking anyone who recognizes them or has information that could assist investigators to call 403-328-4444 or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Again, that is 1-800-222-8477. Crime Stoppers will pay cash for information leading to an arrest. During the holidays, it's important to remind the public about road safety. The Lethbridge Police Service, in partnership with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, has launched the annual Christmas Check Stop campaign to remind motorists to drive sober and prevent celebrations from ending in tragedy. Impaired drivers pose a significant risk to public safety, so several check stops will be held throughout December and into the new year to remove impaired drivers from the roads.
Drivers with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08 could face criminal charges upon conviction and a consequence of a criminal record. If a driver is found to be impaired by drug or alcohol, an IRS fail will be issued, resulting in a 15-month suspension with the option of getting an ignition interlock device after the first 3 months, a 30-day vehicle seizure. In totality, the financial impact of the first fail offense is approximately $4,000 to $5,000. Drivers with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05 or over are subject to an IRS warrant, resulting in an immediate 3-day license suspension, vehicle seizure, along with a $300 fine. Police could also issue a 24-hour suspension for drivers suspected of being impaired by alcohol or drug, a physical or medical condition that affects their ability to safely operate a vehicle. In Canada, police have the authority to request a breath test from any driver who is lawfully stopped. Sober or not, if the driver refuses to provide a breath sample, they could be criminally charged. In addition, police will also be checking for valid documentation, including driver's licenses, vehicle registration, and insurance, as well as equipment and liquor and other violations.
Our presence humanizes the message and may help the driver be more receptive to the officers. Many of our MAD volunteers are victims or family members of impaired driving crashes. Their presence reminds the public of the real-world consequences of impaired driving, and people have to make that right choice to stay sober and when they get behind the wheel, or use public transit, or take an Uber, taxi, whatever you can do.
During December of 2024, police checked more than 1,200 drivers and issued 10 immediate roadside suspensions. Police say 10 drivers whose blood alcohol level was under 0.08 were given warnings. Police also handed out 123 violation tickets, laid 5 criminal charges, and executed 6 warrants. Tourism Lethbridge wants to remind residents and visitors to southern Alberta to utilize the Lethbridge Airport for their travels in a new initiative project. A new marketing campaign is aimed at promoting travel into and out of the city, which they claim has become more convenient and faster over time and would help the local economy grow. The marketing campaign features new video advertisements, plus a contest that Lethbridge residents can enter to win a trip to Victoria, British Columbia that departs from YQL.
It is very important to the tourism community, having that airport, using that airport. And it's something that we consistently get asked when we're out across Canada selling Lethbridge to potential event investment. So we knew we needed to do something to, really talk about, the impact of the airport and the benefits that it brings to our community. We are, providing a prize in, partnership with Inspired Vacations, and it is a trip to Victoria, right? Which is one of the easier connections with the Lethbridge Airport. So again, showing people that it can be seamless, that there are options, for a fantastic trip where you fly in and out of Lethbridge.
To enter to win the trip to Victoria, residents can visit the Tourism Lethbridge website and submit their entry by entering their information. Well, we all know that if you want books, you go to a library. And if you want skates, you go to a sporting goods store. But in Coaldale, there is a skate library that offers free skates to the community. Kendra Burris, head librarian at the Coaldale Public Library, says the program has been running since November 2024 and is equipped with 100 pairs of skates, skate aid trainers, and helmets. In addition to explaining how the idea first came about, Burris also says the program has received 2 Community Initiative Awards.
Chinook Arch Regional Library System recognized us with a READ Award at the beginning of this year, which was an honor to receive out of 33 libraries in the region. But then we were recognized by the government of Alberta for the Minister's Award of Excellence for our skate library. Our town built an outdoor skating rink outside right next to the library, and we knew it would be a need of people in the community that may not have access to skates, may not have the money to purchase new skates. Kids are constantly growing out of skates. So you can use your library card and rent these skates for free for 7 days. That's what's really great about this program, is it's bringing people into the library that don't even necessarily use the library for things like books and stuff like that, but it's bringing them in for sporting equipment. In celebration of winning our awards for our skate library, we will be hosting a skate night on Saturday, December 6th from 5:30 to 8 p.m.
The skating library program is open Monday to Thursday from 9:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. and on Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. This weekend, boys indoor soccer clubs from across the province will gather in Lethbridge for the Lethbridge FC Winter Chinook Cup. 44 clubs ranging from U10s to U17s are competing in 73 games across Lethbridge, with games being held at the Service Sports Centre in Lethbridge and Shift Centre in Coaldale. The Lethbridge Soccer Association says the tournament shows just how much the sport has grown throughout the province, including the buzz behind the FIFA World Cup.
It's great. It just brings such a great sense of community together. It just goes to show you how huge soccer is within our entire province. So it's wonderful to see that we have so many teams coming this weekend. And our boys tournament is always successful. We have amazing teams coming from all over: Calgary, Canmore, Coaldale. It's going to be awesome. It's great to see more and more teams come year after year, and just how much the sport's growing with the World Cup coming in 2026. Anybody can come down. It's $10 for a weekend pass, $5 for a day pass. Everybody's welcome. Building's going to be packed. It's going to be super exciting. So yeah, just come down and support all of our teams this weekend.
The main matches will run from December 5th through the 7th, with medal matches held for select groups on a Sunday. And before we go to break, we say a happy 80th birthday to the first Canadian woman to go into space. In 1992, Roberta Bondar was not only the first Canadian woman in space, but also the first neurologist to travel to space. And she celebrates her birthday on Thursday. The Sault Ste. Marie-born Bondar is reflecting on how her role as an astronaut has impacted her life.
I think if you're asking me about my credibility and platform, it's more about being an astronaut and having had a different view and different perspective, and using that platform to reach people in a way that they wouldn't have been reached otherwise. I've just come back 2 days ago from a small community in Manitoba, and the young people were thanking me for coming to their community. They were asking me questions that were quite amazing, things that they wanted to learn. They were so keen on trying to understand things, and it wasn't just about space; it was about life in general. But they felt that because I had gone into space, that I had some inner wisdom as well as outer wisdom to be able to impart things to them in a way that they could understand that they couldn't understand before. So it's that kind of credibility that being an astronaut has brought. It's not just going to space and playing with my food and showing pictures of rockets and saying, wow, that's some firepower. Wasn't she lucky that she didn't die? It was rather looking at the planet differently. It was looking away from the planet differently. It was trying to give a message about hope and health and inspiration, and about mental health as well as physical health. So being an astronaut has allowed me to have the credibility as well as the platform to do these things.
Bondar holds 4 degrees. She is a neurologist, physician, scientist, environmentalist, and award-winning landscape photographer and author. Wow, busy lady. Gives us all something to aspire to, doesn't it? A new poll has found first-time home buyers are worried about job stability and the economy as they enter the real estate market. The Harris Poll Canada study that was commissioned by Scotiabank found that more than 50% of Canadians planning to buy their first home in the next 5 years feel it's not possible for them to do it right now. Roughly 62% of potential first-time buyers say current economic conditions are negatively impacting their finances while delaying their buying plans. Meantime, 56% of respondents said affordability was impacting their mortgage decisions, while 47% said it was uncertainty about the future, and 43% cited the fear of making the wrong decision. A new report forecasts food prices will rise 4 to 6% next year as trade disruptions put pressure on suppliers. The latest food price report from the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University says the increase means an average family of 4 could see their food bill rise by $994 next year. Lead author Sylvain Charbois says the growth in food prices is expected even as trade-related price pressures are poised to ease. Canada lifted almost all counter tariffs in September, while the U.S. has recently walked back tariffs on more than 200 agricultural and food products. Canadian shoppers who were fans of Bed Bath & Beyond will be happy to hear the brand is making a comeback. We get details from Michelle Zadikian with the Canadian Press.
Sleep Country Canada is on the cusp of reviving Bed Bath & Beyond. The mattress retailer confirms it has purchased the Canadian and UK rights to the houseware brand's name and logos. It will relaunch the retailer next year with physical stores and online. The federal government's trademark registry shows Bed Bath & Beyond's Canadian and UK intellectual property was transferred from Overstock.com to Sleep Country over the summer. Trademarks now owned by Sleep Country include Bed Bath & Beyond domain names for several websites belonging to the brand and linked to promotions it ran. Overstock.com bought the trademarks in 2023. That was when Bed Bath & Beyond Canada filed for creditor protection and eventually shut down. At the time, the Canadian business had 54 Bed Bath & Beyond stores and 11 Bye Bye Baby stores where more than 1,400 staff worked. While those stores were all closed and staff laid off, the Bed Bath & Beyond brand lived on because Overstock.com launched an online store for the Canadian market under the banner.
Now here is a look at today's markets.
The TSX was up 317 to 31,477. The Dow was down 31 to 47,850. The S&P 500 was up 7 to 6,857, and the Nasdaq was up 51 to 23,505. West Texas Intermediate oil was up 73 cents to $59.68 US per barrel. Natural gas was up 8 cents to $5.07 US. Gold was up 5.27 to $42.0850 US an ounce, and silver was down $1.37 to $57.11 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $7.57 per bushel. Barley is at $5.94. Canola is at $14.20, and corn is at $7.49 per bushel. Live cattle are up $2.50 to $221.45. Feeder cattle January contract was up $4.72 to $336.57, and lean hogs are up 57 cents to $81.12. The Canadian dollar was up slightly over the past 24 hours and currently sits at $71.70 US.
Recapping one of our top stories, it won't be formal talks, but Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump will meet tomorrow in Washington. They will both be attending the draw for the 2026 World Cup being hosted by the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. It'll be the first time the two have chatted face-to-face since Trump cut off trade talks in October. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has been applauded for signing a memorandum of understanding with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Many anti-pipeline policies were dropped, but the fine print includes a major hike to an industrial carbon tax. According to Franco Terrazzano, federal director with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, it will be the consumers who will pay for it. He joins me to discuss this important issue coming up next. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our stories and interviews.